Peace. Hi, it's Heart Love. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, YouTube. Peace. It's the YouTube live book reading of Animal Speak. Learn the language of the animals, the spiritual and magical powers of creatures, great and small. Wow, we have really done a wonderful job. Thank you all for being here. Welcome, YouTube. We are now in the final part of this wonderful book. Can you believe it? On YouTube, we've done it again. We've read another book, almost completed. Peace, Coco. Hello, Shun. It's Heart Love. Thank you guys so much. Oh, this is going to be a brief reading, but I had to. Divine Rising. Divine Rising. All right. We are almost complete another book here on YouTube. It's so beautiful, right? we so peaceful. God, I give thanks. Yay, I know. Coco. Coco said, so excited. Awesome. Peace, love, and abundance light. All right. So what I will do is just go into a little bit of this first part, and then we'll pick up the next couple days reading through the insects and exotic language of reptiles. Part 4 here on YouTube, 327, page 327. Here we go. I'm your moderator and narrator, Uriel Riley. Thank you so much. Love to all my family and friends, to my beautiful mods. Yes, this is big time, Coco. I know, because we have so many insects and reptiles. It's like, I was reading this part and it's so pivotal. I'm going to do something special for the ending of this part of this chapter. So I will go in and read. Thank you so much, everyone reading here on YouTube and in the playlist. We are the real deal. We learn from masters. We keep and stay in peace here in harmony. This is that part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. So here we go. Ted Andrews the Great, Part 4. The exotic language of insects and reptiles. The children opened elder brother's bag, and out it flew the first butterflies. Their wings were bright and sunlight and held all of the colors of the flowers and the leaves, the cornmeal, the pollen, and the green pine needles. They were red and gold and black and yellow, blue and green and white. They looked like flowers dancing in the wind. They flew about the heads of the children, and the children laughed as those first butterflies flew. They sang, and the children listened. Chapter 14, Insight into the World of Insects. This is so beautiful. I just want to cherish it with you guys. Thank you so much for the likes and subs. We're pushing to 500. Page 329. We are down to the last part of this book in part 4, chapter 14, Insight into the world of insects. Thank you so much for the likes and subs, hearts. I see you. This is the corner of YouTube where it's peaceful. So enjoy, revel in it, breathe with us. Seldom does anything cause as strong emotional response in humans as a close encounter with insects. Some respond with fear, while others respond in awe. Still, others try and ignore the most plentiful group of animal life upon the planet. It is estimated that there are over 800,000 species of insects, with a multitude of varieties within those species. Insects are both ancient within the history of this planet and also as symbols within the history of humanity. Humans have long attributed characteristics to certain kinds of insects. Although this is a form of anthropomorphism, it is important to understand that often the qualities associated with insects were attributed to them because of the characteristics they displayed. Again, as with any animal, we do not have to believe that they have a creative intelligence, but we can recognize that the behaviors, instincts, and patterns they do display can reflect and symbolize certain archetypal forces as yet not fully understood. Many modern shamans issue precautions about working with insect totems, implying that the archetypal force or spirit behind it is too primitive and difficult in energy with which to effectively work. I believe each must determine this for himself or herself. In spite of these warnings, insects have been used as totems in many societies for a long time. To the Kalahari Bushman, the praying mantis is an animal bushman. Their legends and lore are filled with the teachings of mantis and its mystical qualities. The spider in the Native American tradition is both grandmother and creator, a symbol of the ability to weave new energies into being. To the medieval peoples, dragonflies were often miniature dragons and signs of doorways into the fairy realm. We must be careful about making generalizations. Remember that the key to learning animal speak is to understand the behaviors and qualities of the animal. This will help you to determine its role in nature and its symbolic role within your life. Examine insects in general, and then the specific ones you seem to continually encounter. Especially pay attention to those unusual ones that you come across. Recently, upon a trip to Florida, I visited a nature center. I had gone with the express purposes of meditating upon certain changes and activities I was hoping to initiate while in Florida. All along the trail, I had dragonflies and butterflies buzzing and flying around me. Every time I'd stop, they'd light upon my hand, head, or shoulders. Later, I was to encounter the most beautiful spider I had seen in ages. It was called a golden orb weaver, and its web was artistic, beautiful, and intricate. The significance of these insects was not lost on me. They held the promise of new adventures and new beginnings. It turned out to be one of the most successful in that area, and it opened new doors for the future. Usually, anything small, creepy, and crawly is classified as an insect, but this is not accurate. Ticks, spiders, centipedes, and such are members of another class of animals entirely. Insects have jointed legs and three body parts: the head, the abdomen, and the thorax. They also have three pairs of legs, and most have, at time, two or two pairs of wings attached at the thorax and set of antennae attached to the head. Spiders have 8 legs and no antenna. Mhm. Their eyes are simple and small, and the head and the thorax are fused together. That's right. They are arthropods, like insects, but a different class. For the purposes of this book, I am including spiders along with the other insects within the dictionary. Insects are opportunists, something from which we all can learn. They are the most diversified life form, and there are so many types that one third to one half are estimated to not to even have names. Insects are enduring, and they seem to possess an uncanny wisdom, doing many of the same things humans do, but with greater efficiency, including raising their own crops, fungus, herding, insect, cattle, and living in highly structured and complex social organizations. Insects succeed as a group because of 6 primary qualities. First, their ability to fly enables them to spread. Second, they are extremely adaptable to the environment and climatic conditions. Third, they have an external skeleton, which provides a kind of armor for themselves. Fourth, their small size keeps their demands meager and more accessible. Fifth, reproduction enables the species to survive. They can delay fertilization until the food supply and living conditions for the young are most likely to be beneficial. And finally, they have the ability for metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. They can undergo multiple, usually 4 changes to facilitate and carry on life. All of these characteristics can be viewed symbolically as ideas which would assist humans to be more successful within their own lives. We, of course, cannot fly, but we can make sure that we don't get stuck in what is too comfortable. It can reflect a need to continue to explore new avenues in life and not to become too content. We can't wear our skeleton on the outside, but we can develop our sensi- sensitivity to the energies around us and strengthen our own auric fields so that we are less likely to become victimized. We can keep our demands small and not be so wasteful within our own lives. Many people fail at life because they try to accomplish the great all at once, rather than building and doing a little at a time so that it can become great over a large span of time. The delaying of fertilization until living conditions can support it has multiple applications. The most obvious having to do with all the problems of overpopulation in the world. Lastly, is the process of metamorphoses. Change is inevitable in life, and life only becomes more difficult and dangerous on many levels when we resist its natural flow. Change ensures growth. We have to shed the old before we can come into the new. Metamorphosis is the magic inherent within insects. It is the magic of life that they can teach. Biologically and physiologically, humans recognize that there are changes: childhood, puberty, adulthood. Change should occur on other levels and is necessary at other times. Everything we create in life has to go through stages. These align with the four stages of insect metamorphosis. All insects, and thus all ideas and creations, begin as eggs. The eggs hatch into caterpillars, which feed and spin cocoons. From a cocoon comes its final expression of life, usually with wings. In the egg stage, there is the fertilization process. We give birth to an idea, an activity, and a new quality or something. From the egg stage comes the larva. In insects, the egg becomes a caterpillar in this stage. The caterpillar feeds and works to strengthen itself and achieve its foundation. Ideas and creativity need to be worked with, shaped, formed, developed, and honed. When this is accomplished, when the caterpillar has laid itself a new foundation, the stage of chrysalis begins. A cocoon is woven around itself by the caterpillar, and a mummy like pupa forms within. In this stage, there is a reorganization of the caterpillar's cells, even though there is an appearance of lifelessness. Sometimes individuals need to back off after laying a foundation and then go deeply within so that creation will be able to come forth strong and in new light. There are points in the creative process where we must be passive and let things take a natural course. We do what we must and then let it move on its own. This is reflected in the chrysalis stage. From the chrysalis comes yet a new and final form, a winged insect. The fact that it has wings in its final stages is very significant, and all of the symbolism associated with wings apply to insects as well as birds. The adult only comes out of the cocoon in the warmth of the spring. Again, reflecting the ability to go within and determine the best time to set the new creations in motion on a higher level. Wings are the emblem of the adult insect and thus the adult creation. Flight now becomes a way of life for however long the adult survives. Within the stages of metamorphosis are the keys to creating and manifesting anything. Those with or without insect totems would do well to study and meditate on how insects molt old forms, shedding the old to come into the new forms. Insects remind us that we are never the same. We are always changing, and that is the only constant. But that is also the force of creation. This may have been exactly what the caterpillar had in mind as he spoke to Alice in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Quote, "Being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing, isn't it?" said the caterpillar. It, that was Alice. "It isn't," said the caterpillar. "Well, Perhaps you haven't found it so yet, said Alice. But when you have to turn into a chrysalis, you will someday, you will someday, you know. Then after that, into a butterfly. I should think you'll feel it a little queer, won't you? Not a bit, said the caterpillar. Well, perhaps your feelings may be different, said Alice. All I know is if it was, it would feel very queer to me. You, said the caterpillar contemptuously. Who are you? Many insects live in groups or colonies, bees, wasps, and ants being the most common. These types of insects are called social insects, and there are different jobs and functions within their community. Insect totems can reflect lessons in social ability and working for and within the community. Most insects breathe through openings in within the body, located on the thorax or abdomen. Because of this, insects can teach techniques on how to use cellular breathing techniques to enhance overall health. Ding! This type of breathing process is part of many teachings in yoga, Taoism, and other Oriental traditions in the use of breath for power and health, pranayama. Each insect will have its own unique qualities and characteristics. These can reflect the energies active within your own life or needing to be developed by you. Only a study of the insect will provide the insight. Pay attention to its most unusual characteristics. For example, an ant can lift a stone 50 times its own weight. A bee can haul a burden of 300 times its own weight. Woo! Woo! True power. This hints at the kind of energies and symbolism attributed to the insects through the ages. Such feats often have rational as well as metaphysical implications. The great displays of strength have to do with the fact that most insects have a different muscle development than humans. A human being has a little less than 800 individual muscles. A grasshopper has over 900, and the grasshopper, along with most other insects, has a great resistance to fatigue. Insects have many ways of protecting themselves and ensuring successful survival. These should be studied and meditated upon as well. Similar applications can be used by those with insect totems. The most common is concealment and camouflage. Some employ in armor plating, some use cocoons, and some are armed with claws, stingers, chemicals, tusks, and such. What does your insect use? Are you using something similar? Should you be? Or are you using it inappropriately? The worst enemy of insects are other insects. This is significant when we apply that same aspect to humanity. Humans are their own worst enemy. How often do we hear people say, I did it to myself. I'm my own worst enemy. If things aren't working around you and an insect is prominent in your life, take a look at yourself. Is there something you should be doing, but you're not? Is there something you are not doing that you should? Humans are in direct contact with their environment. We have nothing shielding the skin and senses. Insects are not in direct contact because of their exoskeleton. They must use other means to sense their environment. Oh, thank you so much, Sir Jacob. Highest heart love. Thank you for reading with us. Thank you for the likes and subs. Highest heart love. Man, let me make you a mod, Sir Jacob. Thank you so much for being here. Highest heart love. Thank you for that love. Man, we're doing it. And guess what I just looked up? You see this, guys? Look at this, the gals, ladies and gentlemen. Look at what page we are on. Angel number 333. Woo! Of animals speak. This level up here is so beautiful. Oh my goodness, so peaceful. Right? You can feel that. Yes. Happy Sunday. Highs heart. They must use other means to sense the environment. The most dynamic sensory organ is the antenna or feelers. All antenna, antlers, horns, and head appendages have been symbols of higher consciousness, intuition, and heightened perception. The antennae of insects are constantly in motion, feeling the environment about them. This feeling aspect is what links insects with the psychic ability of psychometry in mystical traditions. Psychometry is the ability to hold an object and read its vibrations, attuning to those things and people that have occurred around the object. The antennae of insects vary in size and shape. They are usually larger in those insects with poor eyesight. With their antenna, they can feel, smell, taste, and determine temperature. They can also use them to create sounds. The antennae have numerous tiny pegs upon them, which serve as receptors. The sense of touch in insects is highly developed. They have numerous touch hairs upon the legs, body, and antennae. Individuals with insect totems will find our own sensitivity to touch becoming greater. Are you too sensitive to your environment and the people within it? Are you not paying enough attention to what is around you? Are you out of touch? Are you getting too mental and ignoring the physical? It is not unusual to find those with insect totems becoming more sensitive to touch. The skin is the outer covering of our body and our largest sensory organ. It protects while it senses. It is an ancient symbol of sensitivity and self worth. It is also a symbol of birth and rebirth, as the cells of the skin are continually regenerating. Insect totems may show up at times where issues of insensitivity surface. Are we being insensitive to others, or they to us? Are we trying to deaden our senses to outside influences? What is bugging you? Who or what is that you're bugging? The hearing of insects is very acute. They are even capable of detecting ultrasound. Their hearing organs are found on the legs and the abdomen. These enable them to sense the vibrations emitted around them. Individuals with insect totems should develop their listening skills, pay attention not only to what is being said, but also to what isn't. Pay attention to what is said through the body language of others. Trust your impressions. Insects have no voice, but they do make noise through stridulating, the rubbing of one body part against another. The sounds serve a variety of communication functions. It helps them in finding mates and even to frighten enemies. A perfect example of this is hearing crickets in the evening or in the night, right? Yeah, that's what stridulating is. They're rubbing their body parts up against each other and it's making a noise. So powerful. Another master gem, right? And we can do this ourselves by rubbing body parts against each other. Connection flow. It helps them in finding mates and even to frighten enemies. Insects pass messages to each other in a variety of ways. They use scent, touch, chirping, and even dances. Ants touch their feelers together. Grasshoppers rub their wings together to create communication noises. Bees will perform dances that communicate where food can be found and how plentiful it is. The visual acuity of insects is limited. Their vision is only sharp to about 3 feet in most. They actually have compound eyes. This does not enable them to see more clearly and more focused than humans, but it does aid them at detecting the subtlest of movements and communications within your own life. Insect mysticism then can teach you how to pay attention to the subtlest of movements and communications that incur your own life. Insects are the keepers of knowledge on subtle, non-verbal communication. They can teach us how to use these same subtleties within our own life. A good experiment is to spend a day not using any verbal, written, or spoken communication. Use gesture, posture, movement, utterances of sounds, and touch. See how well you can communicate in this manner. This is a part of the wonder and the magic that has long been attributed to the forces associated with insects. This is its truest medicine, regardless of the kind of insect. There we go. Chapter 14 is complete. The insight into the world of insects. Page 334. There we go, guys. There's our piece and our reading for the day of Master Ted Andrews' Animal Speak. The spiritual and magical powers of creatures great and small. Learn the language of the animals. By Master Ted Andrews. I'm Master Uriel Neville Riley. Thank you, guys and gals, beautiful people, so much for the reading of chapter 14. And so, when we reconvene, we will start to go into the dictionary of insect totems. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Highest heart love. We are doing it, Coco. It's a beautiful short read, right? I told you it would be pretty short. Just wanted to make sure I gave you guys some peace on the first day of the week. We're powering through. Yes, put it in the chat. Much love. Thank you, guys. We're pushing to 500 subs on this channel. Man, this is how you do it all the way from the mud, right? Peace, Marquise. Highest heart love. Peace, family. Highest heart love. We are in the middle of the summer, manifesting this greatness. So, I'm going to take a nice drink of water. Marquise, I shouted you out in the otter in reading. I know that was one of your totems. Highest heart love. Thank you. I love you. I love you all for the people. Mm. Oh, love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much. How's everything been, everyone? Wonderful. How's the feed? Really good? Yeah, I just want to make sure it's clean. I like the clean work. My dad always used to say, right, Marquise? Dad, and Dad told me why he would say this. He would say, do things right the first time so you don't have to do it again. I've kept that with me through all of these years. Always remember that sits in my head whenever I do something. Right? Amen. Dad was like, do it right the first time so you don't have to do it again. Right? That's the realest. But dad told me why he said that. Because dad was a demolition and working in demolition. And so when I just had asked him this a few years ago, I was like, Dad, where'd you get that from? Why do you say that? And I was like, Dad, that means the world to me because I use that in everything I do. Do it right the first time so you don't have to do it again. Sometimes you might have to do something again, but at least you're giving your best. But the reason why he was saying that, and Dad and Mom both always remind me every day to give my best at whatever I do. That's just how I am. I'm built like that. That's why I can wear this tag, black sapphires. But, he said, since he was in demolition in the military, right, they'd be working with explosives and bombs. And they would have to, like, sometimes blow up bridges and stuff like that. And he said, if you did that work, right, and you're doing this work, and you don't do it the first time, right, there might not ever be a next time. You get, unalived doing that type of work. So it was important to be very specific. And that's why he used to use this word that I didn't know until I was older. I'm sure you might have known because you're a lot older than me. But he used to be like, I'm a tactician. And then later when I got up and I realized what I was doing with my work and, healing the people and stuff, I was like, I'm a tactician for real. But, it deals with being very precise and intricate in your work. And so when I'm dissecting the body to heal people, I devised a modality that heals the entire body, not just the outside of physical, but the inside. So I'm very, very, very precise. And that's where I get it from. My dad always saying stuff like that, and Mom, keeping us focused. We have very great upbringing. I'm so honored and blessed to this day to have my mother and father. Give them honor every day. I love my parents. But yeah, that's what we were just learning in this reading, right? The insects, the attention to detail. This is part of mastery, period. It's not just getting a little bit of it right, it's getting it encompassed in what you need to accomplish and getting it right. So, this part with this insects and reptiles, this is going to be so beautiful. I have something specially planned as well when we get into this reading. And I honor you. Thank you so much for being here. Highest Heart Love. Thank you for the support. We are shaking it up in the world, right? Thank you so much. I think it is important to share some of the things we learned from our parents. That's right, Marquise. It is important because people don't learn the same way anymore, You think about it. We had to do all our homework. We had to type on typewriters and our mom was in the school system, so we couldn't get away with nothing. And then you was before me, so everything I came in after in the schools, they're like, "Oh, that's your brother." So, and you were so advanced and smart, book smart. If I didn't get hundreds on every test, they was looking at me like, "Huh?" I'm like, I'm not Marquise. Oh man, highest heart love. I love that we have always stayed on the righteous side. And I honor that in all of you as well. That's why y'all come to this part of YouTube, right? This is the real deal. So we're the light workers. Highest heart love. Thank you so much, Coco. Thank you, Marquise. I love my mods. I love you. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Peace. Thank you so much for sharing and liking. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.